On February 4th, 2026, Ranger 56 Arizona Department of Public Safety helicopter, a Bell 407, crashed while supporting law enforcement operations during an active shooter in Arizona. Unfortunately, it took the life of the pilot and also took the life of the paramedic on board. And there's been some news out. The NTSB preliminary report is not out yet, but I wanted to take a look at some of the stuff that's being reported and some of the stuff that investigators might look at.
3, 2, 1, fight off.
This is the video. We'll mute it because it's, well, the reaction is about as expected. But you can see here the aircraft seems to be spinning. If you you can see the kind of the landing light, and then it's basically straight vertical down. So there's no forward movement whatsoever. ABC Arizona did an article that I don't know that is all that relevant. DPS helicopter that crashed had been slated for replacement. It crashed while assisting Flagstaff police on an active shooter call. It had undergone an inspection just days before the helicopter crash, Wednesday night in Flagstaff, according to DPS. When asked about the age and condition of the 2004 Bell 407, which, see, that's not outdated. That is a new helicopter by today's standards. I mean, you should see what most agencies are flying, 70s, 60s. If it's well maintained, that is still a good helicopter. It may have been budgeted for a replacement in 2025, but I don't think this has anything to do with it. Now, the fact that there was an inspection just days prior, I mean, could a maintenance issue have happened? Yes. That's just something that they're going to have to look at and see. It took the life of the pilot, Robert Skanke, and paramedic trooper Hunter R. Bennett. I think Robert was a former Marine as well. So, but this is the thing today. Police One is reporting that an Arizona man has been indicted on murder charges after a fatal state helicopter crash. He said that Terrell Story, 50, fired on officers from multiple rooftops in Flagstaff residential area for almost 2 hours. Grand jury indicted the man for 2 counts of first-degree felony murder and dozens of other charges stemming from the state helicopter crash that killed a pilot and trooper during the shootout. That does not mean that he shot the helicopter down. What it means is he was committing a felony, and during the course of that felony, like when you run from the cops, law enforcement officers were killed as a result of his actions. Like, if he had not done what he had done, they would not have been on scene. They would not have been responding. Their deaths probably wouldn't happen. So it's not a direct murder charge like he shot. Now, could he have? Possibly. We don't know. The NTSB preliminary report will come out probably in another week or so. But as far as what this means, it just means a suspect can be charged with felony murder if they cause someone's death in the course of and in furtherance of another crime, such as burglary, kidnapping, or sexual assault. So it was an active shooter, and this death happened. They're adding these charges. It does not mean that he shot him down. He might have. He could have, a bullet might have hit the pilot. Bullet might have magic BB hit the tail rotor, a transmission, something like that. This looks like some kind of tail rotor failure, just looking at it. But again, that's not there. Obviously, they're still going to do the preliminary report. Confrontation began when officers responded to a domestic violence call, which are always the most dangerous calls. And they spoke with the victim in the front yard. Story shot at them from the back of the residence with semi-automatic rifle fire. There was a gun battle. Helicopter crew had been playing a common role helping officers on the ground before crashing. The aircraft was making a pass back to the shootout when it slowed to almost a hover about 1,000 feet over a hilltop, according to flight path data. So it looks like it's in a hover when it starts spinning. And you have to understand with the helicopter, hovering near the ground, you get ground effect. It's a cushion of air, makes it easier to hover. Hovering at 1,000 feet is a challenge for any helicopter because it's out of ground effect. You can start settling. You can get vortex ring state, where you get caught in kind of your own downdraft, your own rotor wash, and as it accelerates, you have to get out of that cone of air that's kind of taking you to the ground with a high descent rate. The fact that when I did the MD 500 training with Dave, we did an out of ground effect, loss of tail rotor, and that is a very challenging thing, because what you have to do is you have to lower the collective to kind of slow that rotation, because as soon as you lose the tail rotor, the aircraft wants to yaw to the right on a Bell 407 like that. It wants to start yawing to the right, and we saw that with the Bell 222. It wants to start going right. So you lower the collective. You can't chop the throttle at 1,000 feet because, well, you don't have enough energy right there, right? You have to enter that auto rotation. So you have to either get some forward momentum or, and we don't know if that's 1,000 MSL or AGL. I would assume they're talking AGL, but it doesn't really specify, because I don't know what it could have been, more like 400 or 500 feet. But you lower that collective, and then when you get closer to the ground, you chop the throttle, you do an auto rotation, or you get some forward speed, especially if you're at 1,000 feet, and try to do it. It's a very uncomfortable place to be. It's not easy, but a Bell 407 is a really good helicopter and a really safe helicopter. So whatever happened, it's going to be tough for them to determine until they look at the wreckage and see, was a pitch link, like we saw in the Bell 222 at Long Beach, was it something else mechanical? Did a gearbox or something malfunction? It could have been a golden bullet, the golden BB. Could have shot him down, could have hit the pilot, and then he got, let go of the pedals. I don't think so, but when you're at 1,000 feet, if you're not using the anti-torque pedals, the nose is going to come around. So, that could be, but that's all going to be determined later. It just sucks that it happened. Obviously, we're thinking about the victims and their families, the families of the fallen DPS troopers and their friends and everybody. But, I think it's a little early to be, hey, here's what happened. We can only talk about what investigators will look at. And a lot of that is going to be, the standard stuff, engine, transmission, the rotor system. Did anything mechanically break? Was it pilot error? Could be pilot error, but, I would think an experienced trooper, you always say, well, it couldn't happen, but it can happen to anybody. We just have to wait and see what they say. But I wouldn't read into the charges necessarily, because it's just, like if a trooper crashes while chasing you and dies, well, you didn't directly make them crash, but the fact that they crashed in a pursuit does bring about those felony murder charges. So that's kind of why that happened. But again, it could be. So hopefully we'll find more information as time goes on and kind of get to the bottom of this, because this is definitely an interesting one. But let me know in the comments what you think. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.